This episode of WDW Today is being sponsored by TouringPlans.com. And hey, we all know that TouringPlans.com is your resource for lots of great information about Walt Disney World. But you know what? They just rolled out, actually a couple weeks ago now already, all their information, that same information for Disneyland. That's right. So if you're going to Disneyland, you're looking for a great crowd calendar, the Lines application, and of course, lots and lots of touring plans. TouringPlans.com is your direct source for the best information for helping you conquer the crowds of Disneyland. Check them out online at www.touringplans.com.
This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Monday, February 7th, 2011, and this is episode 835 of WDW Today. I'm Matt Hotchberg of StudioCentral.com. Joining me on today's show is Mike Scopa, a senior feature writer and blogger for alleears.net. Welcome, Mike.
Oh, look. A magic lamp.
Maybe if I rub a Fantasmic.
Yeah.
Very good. Oh, no! My favorite line in Fantasmic. Also joining us on today's show is Len Testa, co-author of the Unofficial Guide to Walt Disney World. Welcome to the show, Len.
How's it going, Matt?
Outstanding. And
Matt, here's my question.
Yes, Len.
So we've recently come off the Super Bowl, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's the beginning of the off season.
And of course, I had a Super Bowl party. Why doesn't anyone have a Pro Bowl party?
Man, having a Pro Bowl party is like having a croquet viewing party at your house. It's just no one does it.
It's like having an NHL All-Star viewing party. I mean, people do it.
Or an NHL viewing party at all, let alone the All-Star.
At all. Exactly.
Sorry to all of our hockey fans out there. Two of you. And Fred.
Yeah, exactly.
On today's show, we're going to be talking about these restaurants that we've all been to. Picture this. I'm sure you can relate. There are restaurants in Walt Disney World we all love, right? Restaurants that, if someone's like, hey, Len, let's go to a restaurant. You're like, boom, let's go. I'm sure you can rattle off 5 or 10 restaurants easily that you love to go to. And then, of course, there are restaurants that we don't really like at all. There's restaurants that we just wouldn't, even if Len paid for it, we probably wouldn't want to go there still.
Let's not get crazy here, Matt.
Okay, well, sorry. Exactly.
Yeah.
But, there's a lot of restaurants I think at Walt Disney World that are between there. The restaurants that we've eaten at before, we didn't think they were bad necessarily, but for whatever reason, we haven't been back since. And there can be a number of different reasons for it. And we thought today we would talk about those other restaurants. Those, again, not bad, not great, but the restaurants that we just, for one reason or another, haven't been back to. And to get things started, Len, I'd like to start with you. What's a restaurant that you have that fits that criteria that you've eaten at, didn't think it was bad, but have been back to since?
Let's start at the Magic Kingdom. For me, it's Cinderella's Royal Table. I've been there twice. Both times. I mean, the food is decent, if unspectacular. It's not like they're going out on the limb and doing any sort of, nouvelle cuisine or anything like that. The atmosphere is great. The service was okay. I felt a little rushed in doing it, which I can understand because you're in a theme park and it's a really popular location. I understand that. But the cost, the service, and feeling rushed to me just made me think that it just wasn't worth the hassle. Oh, and having to call 180 days in advance to get to 6 months in advance to get a reservation is just too much for me. So it's not that the food isn't bad, it's just the rigmarole you got to go through. And by the way, I love that word, rigmarole.
Nice.
The rigmarole you've got to go through just to get in the place. It's like it's just not worth the effort. That's my feelings on it.
Yeah, the cost is what always gets me. And in fact, when you mentioned that was actually a restaurant I probably would have put on my bad list, to be honest with you. Mm. But I think you're right. There's a lot of jumping through hoops in order to get there, even if you want to eat there. And I think that probably would keep a lot of people from eating there. Mike, is that on your list also?
Well, it's one of several, and I got to agree with Len. I've been up there twice. Once as Cinderella's Round Table, whatever it is. And in 1975, when it was King Stephan's Royal Banquet Hall, and I got to tell you,
Cinderella was even born.
That's right, and she was just a debutante. And I got to tell you guys, it was so much better. I remember I had beef burgundy up there, and I had a nice salad, and it was, it probably cost me like $15. But
which you paid in gold bullion
that he stole from the Spanish galleons.
Pieces of 8.
So it's really gone downhill, but it's one of, I think I've got about 15 on my list, Matt, but it's definitely one that's there. Yeah.
Okay. What's one on your list there, Mike?
Oh, let's see. Let me see. Let me just spin the wheel and see where it lands on. Let's go with La Hacienda de San Angel.
The Hacienda it just opened.
Oh, then what's the other one?
The restaurant, the San,
Cafe,
what's the difference?
the San Angel Inn.
The one that's inside.
Oh, the San Angel Inn. Okay, then that's the
Really?
one.
So,
yeah, let me tell you why. Well, I've eaten there maybe 3 times in the last 10 years. I tried it this past July. And every once in a while I do have to, I'll spend months away from a restaurant and maybe I'll say, well, maybe it's time. Maybe the head chef has been switched around. So maybe it's different. Yeah. But it to me, it represents one of those World Showcase restaurants that really doesn't hit the mark. And by that, I mean, it doesn't really smack of the country that it represents. When I go in there and I order something, when I order an entree from the San Angel Inn, it doesn't taste any different than something I can take out of my microwave oven.
Yeah, Mike is
really
totally agree with Mike.
It's just like that one. And yeah, I think I ate there in July and it's like, why did I? And I said, you got to give these restaurants a shot every once in a while. But
what do you normally order when you're there? Because I never order anything that I can get locally.
I don't know. You caught me. I don't know. Let me take a look at the menu. So let's say I'm there for dinner, and I might order something like, I don't know, maybe a tortilla or something that I can't get anywhere. That's the other thing. When I look to go to these restaurants, I look for something that I can't get anywhere else, and I got to tell you, it's getting harder and harder to find that unique entree, and I think that's part of it too. So the authenticity isn't there. The prices is too high. The offerings, they're just not enough. And it just says to me, why am I wasting time in this restaurant?
I think the thing I ate there with a listener probably about a year or two ago now, and I thought it was good. Again, I have the same issue with La Hacienda, that I think it's too expensive. And it's not bad. The food was good. I just thought it was just too expensive for what it was, and not that much better than a lot of there's very good Mexican restaurants in the area that I live, and certainly in the surrounding Orlando area. And so that I really feel like I can get a better dinner, and certainly a cheaper dinner, at other places, and still get really good and what I consider authentic Mexican. I'm not talking like tacos and burritos, which you can get anywhere. I'm talking like what I would consider authentic Mexican. So I'm just not a big fan of it.
I think you guys are ordering the wrong thing there. I'm telling you, the specialty dishes that they do, things that are different than tacos and burritos and enchiladas and quesadillas and stuff like that. I think is of a higher quality than the kind of thing you could get at your typical Mexican restaurant back home. I think I've said this before. Like they do a couple of different chicken mole dishes that are astounding. They cook the mole the way that the mole is supposed to be cooked. The 27 ingredients or whatever it is. It probably doesn't come from a can like it does in your restaurant back home. So maybe it is the thing there that you're ordering. All right, but anyway, we need to go on next restaurant. Next
restaurant.
So wait, that was Epcot. Is there anywhere in Epcot? For me, in Epcot, it's the two places. One is Rose and Crown.
That was on my list.
Yeah, it's on my list too. Yeah.
Yep.
It's not that it's bad. The location is great. Service is fun. The food to me is bland. Not bland, but it's not memorable.
It doesn't get you.
Yeah, there's nothing there that I would say is a signature dish you can't find, anywhere else, in Walt Disney World. I don't think they've got that thing yet. And fish and chips, which I like, right? I like fish and chips a lot. I just go outside to the quick service place.
Yeah.
The other one for me is the Akershus at Norway.
Oh, I can't. I think I ate there. I ate the Princess breakfast there. I don't think I've ever eaten the
for dinner. So the breakfast not bad at all. There's just something about the kind of food they've got there that's just not great.
Yeah, I mean, going back to a second to Rosencrantz, since it was on all three of our lists,
Was it really?
Yeah, I think that was, I think you hit the nail right on the headline. It's a restaurant that's not bad by any means, but the problem is that there's nothing there memorable. There's nothing there that would say, when we were saying, hey, Len, let's go eat somewhere, that you would say, let's go eat at Rosencrantz, because there's nothing there. There's no dish that you instantly think of. There's no experience that you think of. It's just kind of a very mediocre. I don't know if it's mediocre is even a bad word, but you know what I mean? Like that middle of the road, non-inspired, nothing to remind you of it.
If I had to go to Rosencrantz, I'd play it safe and just order the bangers and mash, and that would be it. But
the thing is, you can go lots of places. You can go to Raglan Road and get better bangers than that, right?
Yeah, true.
So it's just okay. In fact, if I was desperate for a reservation, like if it was 9:00, I would actually pick the San Angel Inn Restaurante over Rosencrantz, even if they were both available, just because I like the San Angel Inn better.
Okay, fair enough. One restaurant I had on my list was Yak and Yeti.
Which one?
The sit-down restaurant.
Really?
I ate there twice last trip.
I ate there twice last year too.
It was one of Hannah's favorites. Yeah,
I ate there when it first opened, right around, give or take. And you know what? I was not impressed at all. I thought it was, kind of like it really was, that nothing really inspired me. That everything I ate, I thought it was expensive. And I thought that the food there was nothing more special than really a nice Chinese food restaurant. Not like, a takeout where you're just grabbing, General Tso's chicken and Kung Pao chicken and that's it. I'm talking like, like real sit down. Nothing got me over there. And again, it's just one of those restaurants that I just realized as I was going through my list here, I was like, well, I don't think I've eaten here in 3 or 4 years.
That's funny. So I've actually tried to recreate the dessert that they have, the banana cream cheese fried wonton. It's come out really well. I liked it that much, actually.
Huh.
Yeah, all right.
That's interesting.
To each their own.
What's another one on your list there, Len?
In the studios, it's Hollywood and Vine.
You haven't eaten there since our table of 20?
It wasn't bad. Service was great. The service is great. I think there's an ample selection of food. They seated us quickly, given the fact that it was table of 2 going to table of 12 in the middle of Christmas. But whatever, oopsie. But for me, there's always if something else at the studios that has a more appeal. So, for example, if I wanted a good steak, I would go to Brown Derby. If I wanted Italian or comfort food, I would go to Mama Melrose's. And if I wanted to entertain who I'm with, I would go to 50's Primetime Cafe.
I think you're right. I wouldn't argue at that point. I think it's, again, nothing memorable.
I know how sensitive you are about the studios, though, so I felt like I had to couch it in terms of positives.
No, but I think it's just like Rosencrantz. Again, nothing, not bad, just not like a memorable kind of meal like, wow, I have to go back there again.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Another restaurant, here's one. I don't know if you guys, what about this one? Grand Floridian Cafe.
Yeah, that's on my list.
Is it really?
Just a waste of time. I don't even know why it's there. I mean, I ate there once. I think there was, it must have been about 3 or 4 years ago. And the only reason why I ate there was because
I only ate there because I've never eaten there before.
I had ADRs for, I think it was Park Fair, and I think it was being refurbished. And so they took us to the Grand Floridian Cafe, and it was just terrible. Just terrible. So breakfast, it was like probably one of the worst breakfasts I've ever had on property. Just didn't like it at all. I have nothing good to say about that place, other than maybe it's a pretty place to sit in.
Yeah, it was nice view.
But that's about it.
Yeah, I remember I ate there, and I think, I was like, you said what a waste, and I was thinking, wow, Mike, that's kind of harsh. And I was thinking about it. I recall, like, after we ate there, I was like, that was nice and everything, but I was like, what's the point? Why would I eat here when there's so many better restaurants on the monorail loop, especially?
The funny thing too is, if I had to eat anywhere in the Grand Floridian, I would do the Grand Floridian tea again. Did I tell you guys about that? I did that.
No. I did that in Canna, right?
I actually did with Laurel. We did it in January. We happened to get an afternoon reservation. The food quality is amazing. The tea is very good. Service was excellent. It's way more food than you would think. Way more food than you would think for tea.
I would say that if I was going to eat the Grand Floridian, I'd rather eat at Citricos, hands down. And then even after that, Narcoossee's.
Mm.
So. Who wouldn't enjoy Narcoosseous, right?
Who wouldn't enjoy something satisfying from Narcoosseous? So we're talking about resort places?
Anything? Yeah. What's on your list, Len?
A California Grill. It's just a hassle. I can't. Yeah, maybe I'm getting old and crotchety.
Oh man, I'm with you. I'm not a big fan of it, but it has a major following with some people.
I know it does, but again, is it worth all of that just for the food? If you wanted sushi, right, go to the sushi place at the Polynesian, right?
Yeah.
If you wanted Asian fusion, I mean, there's got to be places in Orlando that are easier to get to than California Grill, and don't require dressing up a $200 bill for two people and and 2 hours of waiting around.
Yeah, and the price. I mean, the sushi is unbelievably expensive.
Yeah. So.
And I ate there with a good friend of mine, Doug, and Marissa.
Oh, Doug.
And we went there, and it was I was like, okay. I had first time eating there, and I was just like, you know what? Didn't really get me. I mean, I saw Wishes, that was cool and everything, but I think you're right. A lot of hassle, a lot of cost, and I was not blown away. I was expecting to be blown away like in certain other times I've eaten at signature restaurants at Walt Disney World, and that wasn't the case.
Yeah, it's just too much.
Mike?
I'm looking at my list. Do you want a park or do you want a resort?
We just did a bunch of resorts. Why don't we go back to the parks, Mike?
All right, let's. This is something that's been bothering me for like 10 years. Tony's Town Square.
That was my other one in the Magic Kingdom.
Oh, see, that one's on my bad list. That's not on a mediocre list.
It was exceptional in the early 90s, and I don't know what happened, but it's been going downhill. It's just, again, it's an Italian restaurant, so that's a problem. That's another problem with me. But you
don't like Italians? You got something against Italians? I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
So it's just
ever since they knocked back his boy Hannibal, it just hasn't been the same.
That's right. That's right. Oh, that's an open wound.
Sorry.
But I just it's that same thing again. There's nothing unique. The certain ways they make the entrees. When I go into an Italian restaurant, I try to order something that I cannot make, and there aren't that many things that I cannot make. And so maybe that's part of it. And then when I do end up ordering something, it's like,
What's your go-to dish for Italian restaurants? What's the thing that you?
Well, I try to stay away from things like eggplant, anything Parmesan, anything cacciatore, because I can make it better than any restaurant that I've ever been in. That's and I know that's maybe pig-headed, but that's how I am. I try not to order pizza. I'll try to order something that's got a cream sauce because I'm not into making cream sauce, but something like with with chicken and noodles and broccoli, something like that. But I won't order Parmesan or cacciatore or eggplant or something like that.
I'll say, for me to rate an Italian restaurant, chicken Parmesan is the standard dish. If you can't make that well, then there's nothing else.
Yeah, that's the Italian General Tso's chicken.
It's pretty bad if you can't make that well.
If you can't nail that, then there are just issues.
I was going to say there's certain restaurants people tell me which restaurants they're eating at, and I'll be like, okay, Boma and then this and this and this. But if someone mentions Tony's Town Square, I get defensive about it. I'm like, dude, you have to change your ADR. Now. Like, I'm not letting you say, I'm not going to say, okay, that's okay, or, whatever. No, you have to change the ADR. That really upsets me.
That's one, and, let's talk of another one. It's an obvious restaurant, but Nine Dragons, why are you going there? Go outside the property and go to a nice Asian restaurant in downtown Orlando or whatever.
Yeah. Well, again, that's another restaurant I would consider bad. We're trying to get, I guess, restaurants that we wouldn't mind eating at. But we just haven't eaten at for whatever reason for many years. Got time for about another restaurant or two. Len, you got another one?
In the resorts, I haven't been to Yachtsman Steakhouse in a couple of years. I think the service there is excellent. I have never had bad service at Yachtsman. I think the food is good quality. The thing that keeps and it's easy enough to get a reservation there, right?
Right.
I've always had good luck getting reservations there. For me, it's just the price is the thing that keeps me away. It's not. It's on a level of Shula's now, and I think Shula's is slightly better in terms of the variety on the menu and in terms of the cuts of beef that you get. And essentially, Disney's priced themselves out of that market.
Yeah.
I will say that the coffee at Yachtsman, for whatever reason, is my favorite coffee in all of Walt Disney World.
That was on my list too, Len.
Was it? Yeah.
Yasmin, yeah.
It's a shame. I mean, good. There's nothing wrong with any of it, right? If Matt was paying, right, I would say we would go and we would have we went and we had a lovely time, right? But when you're looking at $42 for a strip steak, $42, dude, for a strip steak, dude,
it's got to be one of the best steaks you've eaten in the last 10 years, right?
It has to be the only steak I've eaten in the last 10 years at that price. It's just a lot of money, and I fear that they've priced themselves out of the market there for repeat visitors.
That's a good point. I mean, I have not eaten there since we all ate there. What was that? 2 years ago?
That was the last time I ate there.
It was the last time I ate there.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's just too expensive.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Last Mouse Fest? That was the last Mouse Fest.
Yeah.
Oh.
Good point. Wow. All right, Mike, finish us out here. Pick your last one, the best one you think you got left.
Well, another one that no, I guess I'll save that one. I'm going to say, Len mentioned this one, and I don't know, it's dropped a little bit for me. Mama Melrose.
Really?
Mama Melrose, because there's nothing special there. I mean, if I was really hungry and there was nothing else left in the park, and Mama Melrose said, "Hey, we can fit you in." All right, I'll go in there. But looking at what I've eaten there twice in the last 3 years, and the last time I ate, it was on Disney, and the food didn't taste better then either. Again, it's an Italian restaurant, and I'm picking on Italian restaurants again. Just there's nothing there, flatbreads and wood grilled chicken, and they've got fancy plates and everything, but other than that, there's nothing there.
They've
for
got fancy plates, but other than that,
I could not.
If you like fancy plates,
See, I think the appetizers there are better than, or at least as good as the entrees. I would go there and order one of every appetizer.
They make a mean chicken parmesan there. I love it.
Do they?
Yeah. I couldn't disagree with you more, Mike. I think it's really, really good. The flatbreads I'm not a big fan of because I'm like you, Mike.
I wouldn't go with really, really good. I'd say it's dependable.
I think what Len said before is true. They do have comfort food, and you go in there and you can order something, and it's something that is familiar to you, and it's one of those restaurants. Len had mentioned there are restaurants down there that make food better than your local restaurant, whatever the cuisine is. But then there are local restaurants that we have in all of where we live that can provide better tasting, more higher quality entrees than these restaurants. And I think that Mama Melrose falls into that category where if you close my eyes, I would say I'm at home eating in my local Italian restaurant.
Well, there you go. Well, let us know what you think. Do you agree with the restaurants that we mentioned, or the restaurants that you've perhaps not been able to go back to for one reason or another for a couple of years? And let us know what they are. Just go to the comment section on this episode on WDW Today, episode 835, and let us know exactly what you think about it. And don't forget, while you're on the internet, why not check out our sponsor for today, TouringPlans.com. That's right. We all know how great TouringPlans.com is, and for years we've been relying on TouringPlans.com to help us plan our trips to Walt Disney World. Looking at the crowd calendar, picking out the perfect touring plan, making sure looking to see which park to go to. Well, you know what? All that great information has been applied to Disneyland now. They've been spending years working and perfecting the Disneyland side of it, and now they're ready to release it, and you can take advantage of that on your next trip to Disneyland. Get TouringPlans.com subscription right now for Disneyland, and take advantage of all the same great tools that they had for Walt Disney World over on the West Coast. Check them out right now at www.touringplans.com. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, you can visit us online at TouringPlans at wdwtoday.com. You can also find links for us at touringplans.com.
You can.
Yeah, but kind of go to our website. For Len Testo, Mike Scopa, and Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.